Hello, hello. How do you do? So today I wanted to talk about something a little bit more personal. This goes into all the people that grew up without a father figure in their life. Now, I had my dad up until about 14 years old. He wasn't the best father or anything, but he wasn't the worst father. So, it's kind of a mixed feeling when that comes along. He wasn't the most nurturing type or anything like that, but he also wasn't just like the worst. He's kind of an alcoholic. He had his problems, you know, but made some bad choices in life. I give him the benefit of the doubt though. Yeah, I don't really know him anymore, but given the circumstances, I can understand, the mishaps, I guess. I could see from a third eye perspective that maybe he was just a lost soul. Like me, he was stricken by a father that just wasn't around to him. So, he didn't really understand, he didn't learn, adapt, or grow the necessary functions of a father because he didn't have one himself. But anyway, so how how I see that affecting my life as a grown adult now. So, like I said, last time I really interacted with this man was about 14, 15. So I had to go through all of my early to mid to late teenage years pretty much solo, just with mom. It wasn't that big of a deal or whatever. I mean it was because there are things that life just doesn't teach you automatically, you know what I mean? Having a dad kind of they say having a dad kind of teaches you how to bond and all that other stuff and how to maintain healthy relationships and so on and so forth. And, maybe a dad teaches you manly things or gives you life lessons and all that other shit that inevitably you'll just end up learning on your own anyway. The hard way, unfortunately. When it comes to me, that's how it was. But so I'd like to say that life wasn't particularly all that hard growing up. I mean, it was tough at times, you know what I mean? It just seems like there's a lot of shit I did that or I was doing that wasn't exactly the right move, but at the same time, it's like kids will be kids, you know what I mean? Boys will be boys and all that other shit. I didn't have a daddy to sit there and tell me like, look, this is the difference between, a healthy relationship or a not healthy relationship, whether it be a friendship or a gal friend or anything like that, you know what I mean? So, I had ugh, I had a lot of falling outs with people, whether it be girlfriends or guy friends or whatever it may be. I just along the way I figured out quick how you burn bridges and shit like that, and I did that for a while. I burned bridges. I burned a lot of bridges when in my youth, just 'cause I was in the mindset that you know what, fuck it. If you're not here for right now, you're not here forever. So it didn't really matter, and it's kind of the recourse I took whenever I went about. I guess like I don't know. It's hard to say. It's just how I went about relationships for a while. You know what I mean? A homeboy, I might have had a friend or some shit that, just didn't sit right with me or whatever, and I just said, you know what, fuck you, dude. Like, go fuck yourself or whatever, over some dumb shit. Like, it didn't really matter. And then there were, like, say, like, gal friends or whatever, that I was just like, you know what, fucking whatever. Go on about your business. I didn't say like fuck you or anything like that, but you know what I mean. I just kind of walked away from like certain relationships because I learned pretty quick that like there you could tell when a relationship wasn't really worth uh investing into anymore. And that's just because I don't know where that came from or how that happened. It just life does that to you sometimes where you kind of just realize some shit the hard way. So that was kind of one of those things. Like investing in relationships was one of the first things I figured out that when it's not worth it, it's just not worth it. You can just walk away. I could say that's pretty much the same thing for my dad. Like I said, hadn't seen him since I was about 14. It's not that I hate him or anything like that. It's not that he hates me or anything like that. It's just he took, when I was about 14, 15, my dad took he made a decision as an adult. You know what I mean? He's in his, what, 40s now? He's about, I don't know exactly how old he is. If I were to guess, he was early 40s or late 30s whenever he made this decision. But he made the decision to essentially split ways from Texas. I'm born and raised Texas. I've been here my whole life, and as far as I know, he's been here his whole life up until about 14 years ago or whatever it was. So when he did that, it was just kind of like, all right, later, dude. You know what I mean? It wasn't like I'm gonna go fucking, oh, I'm gonna go visit you and chase you and all this other shit. Like you gotta figure at a time about 14, 15, I'm fucking learning how to like develop social skills, and I started my first job. I was figuring out how to be a man in the world, and this dude just up and fucking dips. You know what I mean? It's like, what do I do? All I've got is my mama at that point. And my mom was not a good role model as far as a manly figure or like being a man. You know what I mean? Like teaching manly traits. She typically gravitated towards men that were not good men, alcoholics, drug abusers. Uh, well, I can't say all that. She's been married what 4 or 5 times. 3 of them were alcoholics. So I mean, it's not a good rap sheet. We'll just put it that way. Uh, but so I really only had my mom to figure out certain things in life, and I'd say nowadays I gravitate towards connecting with women. And what I mean by that is like if there's a woman that I can like reach out to and like try and connect with on an emotional level versus a man, I'm gonna do that because it's like, I mean, I got my homeboys and shit, but it's like I'm not gonna fucking, when it comes to like depression or like, hey, what do you think about this or whatever, like I go to women friends because one, I find them naturally more forgiving when it comes to what you think, especially if it's not like, if there's no like sexual or anything like that or any kind of like, if it's strictly platonic, you know what I'm saying? Like it's easier to talk to a woman. I don't know if their opinions are all that great or whatever, but it's just from my perspective, that's kind of what I gravitate towards. You know what I mean? Now, when it comes to like finances, money, business maneuvers, or anything like that, of course I go to a man because they just know more about that. They have more experience in that. That's what men do. So whatever. But when it comes to like, say I'm stressing over a girl, or I'm feeling down, or You know what I mean? I'm unsure of what I'm doing in life. I go ask a woman because women know generally how to guide men in the right direction, as far as I can tell. Whenever I'm having my bad. Whenever I have a woman in my life, it seems like my life goes a little bit smoother. There's more directive. Whenever I don't have a woman, like right now, I've been single for about a year. Uh, not that it's like all that bad. It's not all that bad being single or anything like that. It's just it seems like there's a lack of direction. You know what I mean? Like it's like yeah, I go to work every day. I know that. I have a career, so I mean that's something I do. But it's like as far as like finances and shit, I mean I bring home the money and I fucking spend it. You know what I mean? So there's not really much to look for like forward directional like oh well, this is what you need to do like you gotta save and it's like a home it's like buying a home it's like buying a home right now isn't really a priority because I don't even have the basic fundamentals of having a fucking family or a household because I have no woman. You know what I mean? And it's like yeah, you don't need a woman to like buy a house. Of course not. I mean, as a man, I can do that right now. Not right now, but you know what I mean. I have the means to do that. But I just feel no need. Like I've said before, it's like even with the little space I have here, I have 700 square foot. You know what I mean of an apartment, and I don't even use it. You know what I mean? So it's like it's one of those things that it's just like women to me are the home. Women are the home. I don't know if anyone else feels like that. I'm sure there are a lot of guys that feel like that. Like women are the home. I know it's important to find home within oneself. That way you can be the home. But I don't know. It's just one of those things, and I think partly that might have been because I didn't have a father in my life. You know, uh, all through growing up, my early teenage years, and even in getting into this industry, I've kind of been around a lot of people. I've been around a lot of older men who are fathers, grandfathers, and all that other shit. So they're very typically very very willing people to just teach. You know what I mean? And it's very wholesome to be around. Uh, yeah, I've been around some men that have tried to take me under their wing almost as their son and be like, yo, this is what you need to do. You need to do this, this, and that, yada, yada, yada. Which, I mean, like, I'm grateful. Hey, look, I appreciate all that. If you want to, like, try to coach me and shit like that. And there are some men that have given me extremely good advice, and there are men that have been giving me kind of bad advice. It's not like but like no fault to them. Maybe they went through a different jaded path in life that's the kind of advice they give or whatever. But anyway, so I guess what I'm getting at is that like for men that grow up in this society that end up without fathers and all that, I feel for them. It's pretty hard figuring out what a man is when you don't have one. You know what I mean? Like I had to figure out who I want to be as a man from just viewing people around me. You know what I mean? It's like kind of like monkey see, monkey do. You know what I mean? It's like I had to figure out who was a good male role model and be like, okay, what are they doing? You know what I mean? Like I need to like you know kind of guide myself along with them and so that's a learning curve with that. But I'd say, by far, without a doubt, women women have always been easier for me to go to, on an emotional level or anything like that. You know, that's like my buddy's baby mama. I can just talk to her. You know what I mean? It's like she's a friend of mine, so like I can talk to her and not feel any kind of way or anything about it. You know what I mean? Like if I feel fucking down on myself, I can be like, hey, look, no, this is what I'm thinking. You know, or if I need like chick advice or anything like that, I can be like, hey, what do you think about this? And she gives me kind of advice about, I don't know, kind of like, maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe you should do this instead. So it's like, those are the people. That's the kind of shit like I gravitate towards. I talk mostly to women in that regard. Uh, Now when it comes to like obviously video games or work, that's a whole other thing. But you can always talk about that. Anyways, I just thought I'd put some perspective, maybe relate to somebody, maybe not. But anyways, there you guys.